Would you still go if you were called upon to play for the Panthers?
I've had this question asked. I don't think so. I probably
It's
haven't
it's
swung a bat
happened
in a couple of
before.
years.
It's happened before. It's come to push comes to shove. It's late in July and guys are just tired. They're off on vacation, girlfriends, whatever else, and you wind up being that one
Yeah,
player short, and you have an emergency card filling in there. So don't be surprised if it happens at some point, though.
I I bet I could pinch run. I don't know about taking it at bat against Fernando Rodney or anything,
No,
but I could probably run.
I'd be closing my eyes and swinging, hoping the heck I just didn't make an ass of myself. Hello, welcome to IBL Inside Pitch. My name is Mark Pare alongside Neil Srivastava. And Neil, this is episode 2 of this voyage that we are going on. We're still crazy, but nonetheless, glad everybody is joining us here wherever and whenever you might be tuning in. Lots happening in the IBL, surprisingly, during the off season. And well, Neil, let's get right to it. The big news of the day is the sale of the Kitchener Panthers. Final. The Waterloo Region Sports and Entertainment Group now acquiring the Panthers organization. David and Kate Schooley, along with the Hirani family. What do you make of this sale? It's been a long time coming since the actual announcement that the team was going up for sale back in August. August was a kind of a, I don't know, I would definitely say a turning point for the Panthers, and I think this was definitely the shot in the arm the Panthers and their fans needed right now. Is just to rally the troops back again under the Panthers flag, and let's try to right the house back in order. And it was a rough off season, a rough season last year as far as players and everything else, and some squabbles and some management changes and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely having some. I don't know, some clarity and some vision will definitely help this team going forward. Now, of note, Shanif Hirani is taking over as the general manager. We'll have him on later on in the program, so stay tuned. But what are some of the big things that you think could be coming out of this sale, and what are some of the big things that Kitchener Panthers fans you feel could look forward to in 2025? Well, I think you're just going to see a recommitment, and that's not a fault of the board, the outgoing board of directors and anything. It's just a more of a financial constraints of being a not-for-profit team. So their hands are tied as far as a lot of stuff. Whereas the Titans and the Waterloo Region Sports Entertainment Group won't have those financial constraints. They'll be able to grind the pavement a little more, and as far as use their marketing muscle with the Titans and everything else, and extend the branding. And so they get two shots of the more two bangs for the buck rather than just $1 for every $2 for every dollar they put into it. They got two opportunities to show to two different fan bases as well. So I think they're looking at that as a win-win bonus for them. And then I think just on the field and off the field, I think you're going to see a lot of changes. And of course, I would not be surprised to see a lot of changes at the park itself as well, just going forward. We'll get more into what everything means with this sale when Shanif joins the program. So let's turn the page a little bit. A couple of other notables in the IBL. Probably the most notable, besides the sale, is the release of the IBL schedule for 2025. Any dates stick out to you? There's definitely some changes going on. As far as now, traditionally it's been always the season would always start in Toronto at Dominique Field, but this year the league actually has two venues opening on the same day. Brantford's hosting London, and Kitchener is going to Toronto on May 11th, Mother's Day. And of course, yeah, I get it. A lot of guys and a lot of people are just like, but it's Mother's Day. Why were you doing it on Mother's Day? But it's just you look at how the league schedule is set up and everything else. There's only so many weeks in the schedule. You got to get 42 games in that little time frame. So you can't let a weekend just go to waste there as far as that goes. Another couple of notables on the schedule. It was previously announced before the schedule even went up, but July 20th, once again, the All Star weekend, the All Star game. This time it'll be Hamilton hosting. What do you make of what Eric Spearin and everybody else there in the Hammer might have in store for the
Well,
IBL?
it was so funny. It was just because I'm walking down the stairs, literally the night before the All Star game in Hamilton. Jono from Cable 14, Jono Fletcher, comes over to me and says, "Guys, so is it true you guys can bid on the All Star game?" I'm like, "As far as I know, it is." So and then he grabbed Eric, and pretty much it was just like 3 minutes later, we're hosting the All Star game. I'm like, what? How's that possible? It's like we're gonna make it work. Don't worry, just don't worry. And then Eric went to town with it, and of course Barry has the option as the defending champs, and I guess they decided to pass and everything else. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's just a lot of time investment for that one day and to get everything going. So Eric's got his people going on it, I know right now, and as far as it's good, it's going to be great to see the All Star game back in the Hammer.
You'll get the home run derby. Take it from I want to take it from you on this one. What might be the more hitter friendly ballpark, if they even are hitter friendly? Welland last year or Hamilton this year? What I'm trying to ask is, how do you feel the home run derby might go in Hamilton as compared to what we saw in Welland a year ago?
Well, you had to hit moonshots at a Welland last year to get anything out, and of course some guys, and of course Garton, Duncan, Jake Sanford, those guys put on a great show. Even Starling Joseph, those guys all put on great shows. But it was tiring. Garton was exhausted by the time those last slings were going through. He couldn't keep mustering up as far as the big numbers go. But I think you're going to see the ball doesn't fly out of Hamilton. It's not like Jack Couch. It's not Dominico Field. It's not Fergie Jenkins in Chatham Kent now either. But you're going to see the ball. The ball will go out to right field. Left field, not as much. Center, it's going to be a moonshot if you hit him in the center field. But if you get a windy day, just like we've had a couple Sundays there, and you get a really windy day, it could be interesting. It could be interesting in a hurry.
The schedule obviously ends, right in the midway point of August where it usually ends up. But I want to take us back to just what you were talking about with the schedule actually starting about a week earlier. I do feel maybe even for some teams, there's a little bit more of a I don't want to say a grace period, but it seems like there's spots in the schedule for certain teams where there's little bits more of an area for, I guess, rest and
Some rest, and I always used to joke, so, okay, so who's getting married this summer? What Saturday, what Sunday needs to be sacrificed because guys are getting married, and guys they're gonna celebrate with their buddies and everything else, so they're gonna be a wreck by the Sunday. So it was just interesting to see as far as how that goes. And of course, Herb Morrell does a great job putting this together, and based on the input he gets from all the teams as far as the schedule goes. Every team goes through and gives Herbie an availability dates as far as a list of those things, and then he's got to sit down at the kitchen table or wherever he does it and put it all together and make it a schedule that makes sense.
do you think he does it by hand, or do you think it's one of those run it through a
Like
program?
I think he probably puts it into some sort of program, and then he probably goes back in by hand manually and adjusts things based on, okay, teams start realizing, well, we're playing London 3 times in a month. Can we fix this a little bit? Can we massage this a little bit? You got us going to Barrie on a Friday, or sorry, Barrie on a Thursday, then London or something the Friday night, and then Chatham Kent the Sunday. Can you work with those things? So yeah, I think it's just a matter of he does the best he can with the dates he's given.
Can you imagine what schedule making was like before we had technology and the internet?
Well, I heard a rumor about it was that, like, Major League Baseball schedule was done about a husband and a wife team for like 30 years at their kitchen table. Like I haven't seen this. Like I saw a picture of it. I was like, "Oh, it's got to be made up." But it's just like I haven't done the digging into it. But it wouldn't be surprising if that's how it was done.
It's one of those things. It really is kind of a 12 month a year kind of job that Herb has to put up with in terms of, well, you put up the schedule. There is no rest for the wicked because he obviously has other commitments in other leagues too, but ballparks have to put together, here's the home dates that we have set up. Here's where we can kind of host these games, and then you kind of just go from there. So it feels like there is a lot.
Well, exactly, and it's just like I was actually surprised it came out when it did. 'Cause last year was out in the middle of January. It came out last year. It came out January 17th. I actually have the release on my desk here still, so it's just like I haven't cycled it out yet because I wasn't ready to quite be done with 2024 apparently.
So we're gonna move on now from the schedule. One of the other notables that I did notice in terms of news items is a certain Toronto Maple Leaf player from last year, Sam Green. I believe he was last year, correct?
Yeah, he was there last year. He was their pitching coach, and he was their pitching coach, and he would pitch whenever he could.
Yeah, I have a hazy memory nowadays. It must be the
Yeah,
snow.
it's got to be the
But
snow.
he
Too much time in the hockey rinks, my friends. On very high
apparently
elevation.
freezing you realize how high above sea level I am at the Sleeman Center?
Uh huh. Yeah.
Well, and even other rings too.
You've been all over the place. You've been all over the
Let me
place.
tell you, walking that catwalk in Oshawa, it's not. It's.
No, not happening.
I will take solace in the fact that I have some colleagues that have done the catwalk in Calgary at the Saddle
Yep.
Dome before.
Well, Bruce Barker told me the stories about him. I'm going, how the heck did you get up there, Barks?
There's some sort of trap door or
Yeah,
something.
it was just like, no, sorry. I'll call the game from the ground, where I'm safe and I can kiss the ground if I'm not feeling like climbing those stairs.
I might have to do it in the stands with the fans because that's the only place where there's space. But oh, that's fantastic. But just on Sam Green, of course, he ends up getting a job with the Toronto Blue Jays, yet to be unsigned in the IBL for 2025. Sam Green, I should add. But again, just a big congratulations to him to sign on with the Toronto Blue Jays. What do you make of that signing, and how does that kind of mesh with, say, if he does want to play some time in the IBL? Because I'd imagine that the Blue Jays schedule would be quite hectic.
162 games in the same period of time as we're trying to get 42 in, so it's pretty hectic as far as that stuff goes. But he was with the Jays last year as well. He was I think he was some sort of pitching analytical consultant there. And Patrick Melbourne, I'm sure, will chime in at some point and correct that faux pas here. But yes, I think that's what his official title was last year. He was doing analytical work for the Blue Jays. I guess they liked what they saw, and of course they hired him on as an assistant pitching coach now with the big club.
It's definitely going to be, good for him as well to get into to continue on in the MLB ranks, on the coaching side, and you just love to see it for guys that are, they love the game so much, and they get into these positions and thriving at them.
Well, exactly, and it's just so great for Sam and everything else. Anybody that knows him is just elated for the guy, so it's great to see.
There isn't really much to talk about in the IBL, as we've discussed. There's snow on the ground, and, well, at least not in this end of the province right now. Knock on wood, we'll have probably some come down in the next couple of days, following this taping. So apologies that I jinxed it. But yeah, I'm sorry. I really am. Well, I'm doing the trip up north after this, so it's I'm running into it.
You're gonna definitely run into it and drive through it and all around it. I'm guaranteeing it. Yeah, I'm okay with a small dusting, and then if it wants to take off by Boxing Day, just like my Christmas tree, that's fine. Let it go.
I got the snow tires on. I'll be fine.
Yeah. No, but it's just, with the league at this time of year is usually it's not. There's a guy there's general managers talking to players. There's guys deciding if they're going to come back. There's the discussions guys will have with the girlfriends, significant others, whatever else. They'll go to the gym and go, okay, I'm thinking about doing this, and then if they're going to do it or not, and everything else. The Barrie Baycats just got their rings earlier this week too, so that was a great thing. That was a great thing to see Ryan Rio tagging us in a post, and Ben Davey had it on his Facebook as well. So it was great to see those rings and going, yeah. Still missing from my finger, maybe some year.
Hey, one of these years, one of these
Yeah.
years. But one of the notables that I did want to touch on is just obviously some. There have been quite a few signings by a couple of teams since we last got together. Who are some of the guys that stick out as re-signings and maybe some possible newcomers coming into the IBL?
Well, definitely the Welland Jackfish making their presence known, saying, "Hey, we're still here. We still finished in first." Jake Sanford is coming back this year. Of course, he's already apparently back already in the area, so as well, just working on some things. So it's great to see him back. Former Yankee prospect has turned things around and was making a pretty solid impact in that Welland Jackfish lineup for sure.
Yeah, he did. He did some damage against the Kitchener Panthers. I want to say he was batting. What was he? It was around 600, I believe, in that series.
Something against he was tearing the cover off the baseball. That's for sure.
It was insane. Well, that Jack Couch Park fencing line can't get it needs to get a little bit higher to keep that ball in the ballpark for
Yeah.
Jake.
Well, back in the day when the ballpark was created back in the day, they weren't hitting the ball a mile like they are now. That's for sure. There were some guys that could still hit it. Randy Curran, those guys could still hit a mile, but these guys now just put on shows when they come to these smaller ballparks.
Yeah, those moon shots. Just to finish up on Kitchener, and I know you touched on it with Shanif. Uh, Again, you'll hear this interview on the other side of the break, folks. But Blake Jacklin, it doesn't seem like he'll be in a Kitchener Panthers uniform for 2025. Taking a job, an internship rather, with the NCAA coming up in 2025, moving to Indy.
He's moving to Indy, and I am so happy for that young man. He is an absolute class act on and off the field, and I'm just so happy to see him get an opportunity to show what he can do. Yeah, we're gonna miss him around here as far as swinging the bats and everything else, but for Blake Jacklin, the human being, this is an awesome move.
Yes, it is, and I definitely wish him all the best in his endeavors down in the United States, and we'd love to see him back here in the IBL in years to come. But this is a big opportunity. You don't get opportunities to work for the NCAA every day.
No, you don't. You definitely don't.
No, you do not. Well, on the other side of the break, we will have Shanif Hirani, the new general manager of the Kitchener Panthers. Stay tuned. Hey, you. Yeah, you, lover of the Intercounty Baseball League. Well, I know you love IBL baseball because you wouldn't have made it this far if you didn't. Neil and I are starting off this venture with the IBL Inside Pitch, but we kind of need your help. All you need to do is hit like and subscribe and get our counts up so we can continue to pump out all of this content for you. Hit that like and subscribe button today. What are you waiting for? Joining us now on the line is the new general manager of the Kitchener Panthers, Shanif Hirani. And Shanif, thank you so much for joining us here on this great occasion. I'm imagining things have been busy for you for the last 24, 48, 72, the last week or so. I'd imagine it's been a hectic schedule for you.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me. So since we made the announcement on last Saturday at the Titans game, it's been nonstop. It's been lots of exciting things. People seem to be very excited about the announcement. I know we're really excited to get started. Um, just counting down the days now.
Just
145 days. Last time I looked at the calendar yesterday, I think, or something like that.
There we go.
Of course, the Panthers opening the season in Toronto, actually, I believe, against the Maple Leafs on May 11th, the Mother's Day traditional opener down at Jack Couch Park. So, of course, you've played in this league, so you know a little bit about Jack Couch and all the, as far as Dominico Field in Toronto, you know about Jack Couch because that was your home park here in Kitchener. So, of course, like you guys have I've heard if you guys have got some ideas as far as some upgrades and some stuff in the works as well as far as for the field and stuff too.
Yeah. We do on both the baseball side and the things the fans will see and experience. Starting with the fan engagement aspect, we want to make Jack Couch the place to play, and we want to make it a great venue for families, whoever it is, to come and enjoy a game. So it's all very preliminary right now. It's the holiday season; not much is moving too
Yeah.
fast, but we're trying to push as much as we can to get things going so we can have them ready for our opening day, May 18th.
So what attracted you guys to being, I don't know, acquiring the Kitchener Panthers? I know you guys, of course, with the Titans and everything else. It just seemed like it's very logical as how it was explained to us, of course, with the Waterloo Region Sports Entertainment Group now taking over everything else. It's just going to be two teams under one umbrella. So it's like you can share I guess, the marketing muscle, as they say, and everything else, and just really go a 12 full 12 months of the year now.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how we looked at it as well. With the Titan season, it basically runs up until the Panther starts, and then as soon as we start, we go all the way to September, and then the Titans are back in training camp. The schedule is kind of aligned perfectly. David and Kate, who purchased the Titans, have had a relationship with my family for 20 plus years. So as soon as we saw that the Panthers were available, it's something we reached out, David reached out, and we both were really excited about the idea. And merging the two just made so much sense. Like you mentioned, marketing, lots of stuff we can do throughout the community with players. I know right now the Titans are doing a ton of stuff with the youth in the community, and we want to build on that with the Panthers as well. And then also just great entertainment. Like, sports is such a great way to bring the community together. So if we can do that with both these teams, that'd be awesome.
Who calls who between you and David to say, hey, let's kind of get in on this, because it is a big decision to make to want to get in on something like this.
It is. It is. To be honest with you, it was a text saying, "Hey, want to buy the Panthers?" And then obviously a little more serious sit down after that.
Yeah.
But that's how it started, and then from there we got together, kind of went over what it would actually look like, how we can combine the two, and make Waterloo Region Sports and Entertainment, and what that would look like. But it did start with just a simple text
Just
message.
a simple text message. Jeez, in this day and age. Yeah.
Pretty quickly after the announcement came out that they were up for sale, was it pretty much hey, let's sit on this, or was it, hey, this announcement came out on, say, the Tuesday or something, back in August, and the conversation starts shortly after, kind of thing?
I wouldn't say it was too long of a wait. Like, once we saw the announcement, I'd say it was within 2 weeks was probably when we
Okay.
initially started talking about it, and then obviously going throughout the process that led up to the announcement this past Saturday. But it wasn't too long after we saw the announcement when we started to put things into motion.
Yep. Now, was there a lot of presentations from your group to the Panthers board of directors, and then something to the league eventually once they had selected you guys, or did the Panthers, Bill and everybody else, just make that presentation to the league after they decided on you guys?
So yeah, it was. I'm not sure how much of the process I can speak about, but it
No.
was very thorough. There was tons of interest in the Panthers. We made multiple presentations to multiple different people, including the board and the league. It was a very thorough process and lasted about, I'd say, 3 months in
Yeah.
total before there was a final decision made.
Excellent. And then the decision to become the general manager of the Panthers. I'm just going to warn you, as a former GM 2 times in this league, it's a grind and a half, and you got to work the phones, you got to know people, you got your work cut out for you. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's like, with my background playing in the league, and then also through my education, I I'm ready for whatever it throws at me.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I've already gotten started. We're building out the roster, working on a coaching staff. I hope to have that in place by January, and then we'll be ready for this season.
So, what makes a good coach at the intercounty level? What are you looking for as far as knowledge base, skill bases? Are you kind of a combination thereof, and for different things? Are you relying on different guys for different tasks as far as that stuff goes too?
So it's a combination of a lot of things. Someone with experience coaching obviously is a huge benefit. I personally like someone with playing experience
Mhm.
as a field manager, just relating to the guys being able to kind of know what they're going through is huge, in my opinion. And then once we have that head guy in place, we'll focus on building out the staff and whatever area he thinks he needs to complement him and complement our players is how we'll go about doing that. But once the head field manager is in place, we'll work from there on rounding out our staff to make the most sense for our players.
So Mike Beamer is going to be your right hand man pretty much for the next little foreseeable future. How much has he committed to how much has he committed to some imports yet? As far as, have you guys made commitments to imports yet? No,
we have. Yeah. So we haven't.
Without saying names, I don't want to get you in trouble. I don't want you disclosing your roster because it's just don't want to get you in that point where you're sitting there going, okay, yeah, I've got to suddenly drop 3 names on 4 guys here and get exclusives. But no, you don't have to do that. It's just, but as far as as long as you guys have been in contact, and of course the visa process, especially if they're imports and everything else, is not easy.
Yes,
it's like a 90-day.
It's only
it's probably 90 days or so.
There's a lot of work on our end and then on their end as well. So we've already begun that process. We're working on getting their visas done, getting them over here, and they will be announced once we have everything ready.
I know. Sorry, I don't know if you saw this now. Blake Jacqueline, and congratulations to Blake on signing with the NCAA. He's taken an accounting position down with the NCAA. Earlier this week, it was announced on his LinkedIn. So that's a pretty big loss for the Panthers and everything else. But it's great for Blake in terms of his own professional development as he goes forward too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, hey, we want our guys to succeed in whatever they're doing. If they're a Panther once, we'll always support them. And so it's great for him, but it is a big loss.
Yeah. How did the discussion, like as far as when you guys were thinking about GMs and everything else, did you say, hey, I'd be interested in doing this as the GM, or was it more of did Dave and everybody else come back and say, hey, we're looking for a GM. Are you interested in being the GM if this goes through properly that way?
So I was approached. So we've been talking for the past, like before the Panthers situation even came up. I've been speaking to David about getting involved with the Titans in different capacities. And then as soon as the Panthers situation came up, he kind of just told me, he's like, hey, if this works out, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna appoint you the GM, and we're gonna hit the ground running that way. But it's been a lot of discussions that kind of led or were had before the Panther situation was even.
At least you got a little bit of heads up, like unlike I did when I got handed the job the second time through. It's like, oh, by the way, we're firing our GM, and guess what? I'm thinking you, and you got 5 minutes to decide yes or no.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was fun. But that was, it was kind of, I had on goes. That was when Jim Rooney owned the Royals. This was probably 2013, 2014, around there, 7-2 or so. It was just like, it was like, okay. Yeah, that was the second time through. The first time I was 21. And I took over in 1997. They had just won the championship. The general manager decided he wanted to go back to, he was teaching at the time. So it was just like, he was like too busy in the summer. Just wanted some time off with his wife and everything else. So it was like, Larry Pearson said, here you go. Here's the reins. You're the GM.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that was so fun. That was fun, but at the same time, it was a lot of stress. Just because, again, I was like, I was 21 at the time. I wasn't just fresh out of high school, and it's just like, okay, it's like, all right. So now you've gone from, scoring the games and sitting upstairs and not voicing your opinion when not having to worry about it. Now it's like, okay, if I voice my opinion, somebody's going to get fired. So I got to be careful here. So you have any big targets right now as far as who's your first priority as far as signing players or anything? Is there anything you're really working on as far as?
Yeah, there's obviously the imports that I'm working with Mike on, and then we're also looking at a few guys from BC that we want to bring in. They're hopefully going to be impact players, like day one, step right on the field and be able to impact our team.
Well, exactly. I know.
And then
Welland does a great job of bringing in guys from out east and out west. Any rock they can kick over, they find the guys and then suddenly have this immediate impact.
I think like because of the rules with imports, like 5 imports, but Canadians are not considered an import. I think that's a huge huge thing that we can use because there's so much talent across the country.
Now I know the
That's looking
Titans.
for
The
places to
Titans
play.
have billets and everything else for their players. Are you guys able to doing the same thing? Are they going to be the same billets even maybe potentially at some times or?
So we're it's a work in progress right now,
Yeah.
just because they're already in season.
Hmm.
So we're kind of creating our plan for the following season, so everything can be in place for that year.
Yeah.
This year, like we'll have housing and accommodations for everyone,
Hmm.
but then the following year it might be something a little more uniform with what the Titans are doing.
So from when you've played in this league to now, how much have you seen the league change over those? Like I'm only doing what was it? 2020. It was 2018, wasn't it? You were a player. Or,
18, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So just
yeah.
before the pandemic, the year, a year and a half before the pandemic hit. So
Yep,
now, what was your
yeah.
experience like
Well, I
back
know.
compared as a player compared to what you see now, as far as what worked, what didn't work for you back then?
Yeah, I like at least from my perspective, um, because I know I've been around it for a while. I know a lot of players who used to play
Hmm.
for the Panthers when I worked at Play Ball Academy Canada
Yep.
in Kitchener, the indoor baseball facility. So I know a bunch of those guys, and I know the league around that time was more of like a semi-pro model, I would
Yep.
say,
Hmm.
and it wasn't as much of a college summer league style.
Yep.
Whereas when I started playing, I felt like that transition was happening. It was becoming more of a collegiate summer league. There obviously were former pros and that mixed in,
Yep.
um, but a lot of it was. It seemed like it was going towards a younger demographic. Whereas now, I feel like it's going back to that
Yeah, it definitely feels like
semi-pro style. Where
it's getting guys that are okay. They've either put a couple years in experience in there, or they got an injury or something, and now they're down here looking to get another shot, another opportunity. Because you see guys constantly signing. Well, even just in this off season, a couple guys have definitely signed from there since as well.
yeah, yeah, which I think is really exciting because if we can put on an amazing product for the fans, it's going to be something that, hey, my local town has a great baseball team that I can go watch.
Yeah.
It's affordable for the family, and it's great entertainment. So I think it puts the league in a really good spot, and hopefully we can keep growing that.
Hmm. Well, definitely. I don't know. I'm sure you've already reached out to the Scott Darts, the Eric Spearns, and the Ryan Harrisons of the league and everything else, just trying to get some input and some insight as what's working for them and what you guys can bring and make it into your own Panthers version of it, whatever as far as that stuff goes. Have they had any advice or anything they've offered to you as far as some pointers or?
So so far since we've taken over, I haven't been able to talk to them face to face. I spoke to them during the process
Yeah.
before we were given the team, um, and I learned some. They had some insights at that time
Yeah.
on things that they were doing with their clubs, and how we could implement them with ours. But this week's been a lot of stuff going on. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping in the new year, I can properly reach out to everyone and find out what's working, what's not working,
Hmm.
how we can do it with the Panthers, how we can make it better, to be honest, and then and work from there.
Exactly. What's been the fan response so far? Have anybody reached out to you guys and say, "Hey, this is great and everything else. This is what you need to do as far as to fix things."
It's been overwhelmingly positive,
That's good.
to be honest with you. It's people really like the Panthers, really enjoy the Panthers. I mean, they've been around for 105 years, but we
106
have
and
people
yeah.
who are 70, 80 years old, and they're like, "Hey, I used to go to Panthers games when I was a kid,"
Yep.
which is awesome. And they're very excited about the potential with the team because they see it, like they know what the Panthers have been. They've had tons of success in the past. They've had some issues getting over that final hump, but they have put competitive teams out there. Jack Couch has been a great place to play, so they're really excited about the potential of the team, and we're just as excited to do that. Whatever that like on the field, off the field, everything, the whole thing. We want to make a great experience.
Looking at
Exactly.
Jack Couch Park itself, part of it, I don't know if Neil got to this already, but about looking at some of the upgrades and possibilities that this park has, how I guess what is kind of the vision, if you will, of what Jack Couch Park could potentially look like, and could some of those what could some of those changes look like as maybe as early as 2025?
For this year, we're looking at a couple changes on the baseball side as well as the fan side. So we're looking at on the fan side, a brand new video scoreboard in the outfield,
Wow,
which
you
I
guys
think
aren't
will be
fooling around.
a huge upgrade. Yes, yeah, which will give us tons of opportunities, keeps the fans engaged during the game. Tons of stuff we can do with that. So that's one of them. Another thing we're looking at is potentially changing outfield wall heights.
Yeah, I
As
saw
you
that.
guys
I was
probably know,
yep, the Homer
Jack
Dome.
Couch is a hitter-friendly park. So there's some ideas we have in the back of our heads that we're proposing to maybe change that up a little bit and give our pitchers
Are we gonna
make them feel
stack?
a little bit better
Are you
when
gonna
they
have
go
to
out
stack
there.
up the lineup with right-handed hitters, or are we going left? Are we going left? Are we looking at right field here? We're looking at left field. Which one's going the higher fence here? So we can warn the media
Yeah,
here and alert the world. Yeah, you can't hit the left anymore.
yeah. So it's and that's I know that's been a long-standing thing about Jack Couch is the ball flies there. I know that because taking batting practice there was awesome. But yeah, that's one
That
of
it is. That
one of
is.
our ideas. And then on the player side, we're looking at building covered batting tunnels behind our benches, so players
Nice.
have a place to warm up. If it's raining, they can take swings. Pitchers can throw under cover if they need to, and then also expanding and modernizing the dugouts. It's sort of like a concrete block right now that doesn't have great
No.
drainage. So just making it a place that players are more comfortable in. They have all the space they need. They don't have to worry about anything. And then those are our main focuses for this upcoming season. As of right now, we have bigger plans that we're really excited about. But as they're bigger plans, they take a bit longer to go through
Yep.
with. So that's the short term. But there's also long term things that we're really excited about too.
Well, Mark, since they're putting a video scoreboard out there, maybe you can get them to wire it up so you can get a camera out there on a permanent basis too.
Hey, baby steps, Neil. We just got the center field camera in there
I'm sorry, but
last year.
I know but I'm just thinking as the casual viewer watching on a Thursday night from home, it's nice to have those extra camera angles out there.
How have the conversations been with the city in terms of giving that vision towards them, and I guess how receptive have they been to all of this?
I would say very receptive. They're as excited as we are. They know that it's time for upgrades to Jack Couch,
Yeah.
and they're they like that we propose stuff to them that we can work with them. But they've been open to any and all ideas we have. Um, of course, it's the city. Any city processes take however long they take.
Yeah.
So, and that's not unique to Kitchener; that's everywhere. But they've been very receptive to everything we've proposed, and they've been great to work with so far. So, hopefully, we'll continue that, and we'll have some exciting things ready for opening day.
Awesome. So, is there? I hate to use that. Is there a 5-year plan already in place?
Yes, there is.
Is there a
There's
10-year
a
plan in
5 year.
place, or
There's a 10 year. Yeah, there's lots of plans in place. Lots of uh, lots of things of what we want this to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 3 years, whatever that may be. But it does. There's a lot of growth potential we see. So I can't go too much into them, but
no?
there's a lot of
I don't want to be spoiling those things and somebody stealing ideas and going, oh, we could have should have thought of that one too. But it's just as far as it's just curious to see how far the planning has gone into this is. And I think it's just as a casual fan of the league and everything else, it's reassuring to know, yeah, you guys have got a 5-year, you got a 10-year on the goal here as far as this stuff. So these guys are committed to be here for the long haul and not going to just be.
Yeah, we're committed to being here. My family's been in Kitchener their whole lives. I was born and raised in Kitchener. David and Kate have been in Kitchener, where we've all been here. There's nowhere else that we'd want to do this. So it's perfect. We want to stay here. We want to build the team here, and we want to make it as successful as we can here.
Now you're a young guy, Shanif. Could you still go if you were called upon to play for the Panthers?
I've had this question asked. I don't think so.
You
I
know,
probably
it's
haven't
it's
swung a bat
happened
in a couple of
before.
years.
It's happened before. It's comes push comes to shove. You know, it's late in July and guys are just tired. They're off on vacation, girlfriends, whatever else, and you wind up being that one
Yeah.
player short, and you have an emergency card filling in there. So don't be surprised if it happens at some point, though.
I bet I could pinch run. I don't know about taking it at bat against Fernando Rodney or anything,
No.
but I could probably run.
I'd be closing my eyes and swinging, hoping the heck I just didn't make an ass of myself.
That's fantastic. Neil, you got anything else?
The only thing I said is, so what have you set as far as a goal next year for you personally as the Panthers? What are you going to look at? Okay, at the end of the year, if we've done this, year one is a success in my books. Doesn't have to be a win record or anything, a championship, whatever. But is there something you've got in the back of your head that, hey, if we can accomplish this, it's gonna be successful regardless?
Yeah. So off the field, boost attendance. We know the possibilities that Kitchener has for fan attendance. So we really want to focus on making it a great place for people to come watch baseball. So that's a huge thing. We want to see as many people as we can at the park. On the field, a lot of development. We will obviously want to win. That's obviously our main goal. We want to win as much as we can. But we want to know that we're also putting things in place to win sustainably. We don't want to win one year
No.
and then after that all hell breaks loose and we lose all our players and we can't compete for 5 years. We want to build a sustainable team that can win for the next however long decade plus. So that's ultimately the goal. Having the infrastructure in place to build that is my goal for the year.
Outstanding.
Yeah, excellent. Looking forward to everything that is to come, all of the signings and all the upgrades, maybe some upgraded internet perhaps for our broadcasts.
Please. Run the wire ourselves if we have to from the odd.
I got a wish list. I'll send it to.
Okay. Yeah, let me know.
Well, now you know. Now you know the guys, so you might have a direct line now, Mark. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why do you think I did this in the first place?
I knew it.
I always
we're open to any ideas. So
I love it. Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it, and definitely looking forward to everything that is to come.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
I
Shanif.
mean, Mark, I know I'll see you, but Neil, hope to see you at Jack Couch a bunch this year.
Oh, you'll definitely see me around. I'm sure.
I'll rope him in. I'll drag him. Free if I have.
You don't have to drag too hard. Come on. You just have to promise Jenny he'll buy you a Dairy Queen or something. You'll be fine.
Special thanks to Shanif for joining us on the program. For the record, I feel like he still has a cannon from the outfields. Anyway, back to rap after this. Despite there being a chill in the air and some snow on the ground, it feels like there have been news nuggets aplenty in the Intercounty Baseball League here right before Christmas. Some Christmas gifts aplenty for IBL fans. Historic signings, an IBL schedule drop much earlier than people expected, and an ownership change to note too. Make sure you're up to date with the latest IBL news, either by hitting like and subscribe for this very podcast, or go on to the IBL website, theibl.ca, for all the latest information. All right, and as we wrap up episode 2 of IBL Inside Pitch, Neil, want to wish you and yours and everybody else out there that is either listening to this. Really, we're gonna get video eventually. We're trying.
# very soon.
Yes,
very soon.
Baby steps. But want to wish you and yours and everybody else out there a happy holiday, safe holiday. And 2025 right around the corner. it creeped up on us pretty quickly, but
It did.
definitely want to wish everybody happy holiday and all the best for the new year.
Amen, sir. Amen. And the same to you, sir, and all the best to you and your family. Hope you guys have a great celebration together and some joyous occasions and new memories. And we're looking forward to, we're less than, by the time you guys listen to this, will be just north of 140 days till opening day. So that's got me excited already.
It's coming closer and closer and closer by the day, and less than 140 days before the first day of the IBL 2025 season. I'm sure we'll get together between now and then, maybe get a couple of, we can probably bank a few interviews with a couple of
We'll
notables around the league. And
and if anybody has anybody that we should definitely talk to, let us know too.
We got to get Herb Morrell on this show. We got to get the commissioner, Ted Collins, on the show at some point, just to talk shop. And you know what? Even a Josh Garten. We gotta inject some Garten mania on the show.
We gotta get some Garten mania. That might have to be an in-person interview though, because I don't know if you can figure out the technology.
Well, the good news is I'm in Guelph all the time. You're in Guelph. He's in Guelph.
Yep.
Let's just go to Hastings and just record right there. Why not?
Sit out in the snowbanks. Let's go. There we go.
We're just throwing snowballs at everybody while we're recording this interview.
Oh, man.
The ultimate snowball fight. That is episode 3 of the IBL Inside Pitch. We're working on our sliders, but it's cold.
Yeah, it's too cold to throw them. I can't feel my hands. Why?
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. We got to wrap this up. We got to go.
We're getting silly. We're getting in the eggnog, apparently.
Apparently. Maybe there might be a little bit more in that eggnog.
Yeah.